Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle a word that can feel, well, a little intimidating to some and pretty exciting to others: retirement. Yeah, it's a huge, complex topic for sure, but our goal today is just to demystify one little piece of it, to find some clarity in all that noise. So let me just ask you this straight up. It's one of those questions that hits you differently depending on where you are in life, right? If you're 25, it feels like a million miles away. If you're 55, well, it's practically knocking on the door. But no matter how old you are, actually facing this question is the only way you can start building a real plan. But hey, here's the good news. You don't have to have the perfect answer right this second. There are so many different paths, so many tools out there. So for the next few minutes, we're just going to explore one of them. See what we can learn along the way. Okay, let's start by thinking about retirement planning like it's a giant puzzle. You've got all these different pieces scattered on the table, right? There's your income, your goals, how much time you have, how much risk you're comfortable with. The real trick isn't just knowing what the pieces are, it's figuring out how they all fit together to make a clear picture. And when a puzzle is this complicated, with pieces you've never even seen before, it really helps to have someone who's put it together 1,000 times. A guide, someone who knows the terrain and can just point you in the right direction. So, what does a guide like that even look like? Well, our source material actually gives us a pretty interesting example. Now, this isn't an endorsement of any one person, but it's a great look at the kind of expertise that can be so valuable in this world. You'd totally expect to see mathematics on this list. I mean, that's the numbers part, obviously. But look closer. Political science, research, leadership. Now that's fascinating. It tells you that the best financial advice isn't just about crunching numbers on a spreadsheet. It's about understanding the big picture, government policies, big systems, and, well, how people and organizations tick. It really all boils down to this simple phrase from the source material. And better doesn't just mean more money. It means more clarity, right? More confidence. It means having a strategy that's actually built on a solid foundation of know-how, not just a bunch of guesswork. So if that's the kind of person guiding you, what's in their toolkit? Let's get specific and decode one type of modern retirement product you might come across, something called a unit-linked pension plan. I know, the name sounds super complicated, but the idea behind it is actually pretty powerful. The key phrase here is unit-linked. Don't think of this like a regular old savings account. It means your money is actively working for you. It's being invested in market funds. This is where your retirement plan stops being just a safety net and starts becoming a growth engine. It's kind of like a hybrid of insurance protection and investment potential, all rolled into one. To make this real, let's look at a case study from our source material. This one's from the Indian market, but it really shows these ideas in action. What's so striking to me here is the sheer flexibility. I mean, just look at that entry age from 25 all the way to 75. That tells you this is not a one-size-fits-all deal. It's designed to adapt, whether you're just starting your career or maybe playing catch-up a bit later in life. All right, now this is where things get really interesting. Let's pop the hood and see how a plan like this actually works to grow your money. The main idea here is choice. You get to match your investment to your personality. So are you a more cautious person who really prioritizes safety? The bond fund might be your thing. Or are you a little more adventurous, comfortable with higher risk for, potentially higher returns? The growth fund might be a better fit. It's all about making sure the strategy lines up with you. But with any of these choices, from low risk to high risk, there is a super important rule you have to know. And it all comes down to this one number, 5. So what's the big deal with the 5-year mark? It's the lock-in period. Think of it like a commitment. For those first 5 years, your one job is to just let the money sit and grow, undisturbed. It's a feature designed to enforce that long-term discipline that is so important for retirement savings. It basically protects you from yourself, from dipping into the funds too early. So you've saved and you've invested for years. The puzzle is almost finished. What happens at the very end of the policy? How do you actually turn all that hard work into money you can use? This whole endgame process has a name. It's called vesting. And it's actually pretty straightforward. Step 1, your policy matures. Step 2, they calculate its total value. And then step 3, you get to make a really important choice. As you can see in that last step, one of the most powerful options is to take your nest egg and use it to buy something called an annuity. And an annuity is the final critical piece of this whole puzzle. It's basically the machine that takes that big lump sum of money you've built up and methodically turns it into a steady, predictable income stream. This is literally how your nest egg becomes your new paycheck. But there's one more really critical feature: a safety net. What happens if the unthinkable happens before the plan matures? This is where that insurance part of the hybrid really kicks in. Your nominee doesn't get left holding the bag if the market is down. They get whichever amount is higher, the fund's market value or a guaranteed amount that was set from the start. It's a layer of security that protects your family. Okay, let's zoom back out for a second. We've looked at the idea of a guide and we've looked at a specific tool. But what's the big picture here? What does all this mean for you? Remember, that specific plan was just our way of looking at this today. You could swap it out for any number of different products all over the world. The product itself isn't really the main takeaway. The real lesson is in the strategy behind it. So let's just boil it all down. What have we learned? First, your strategy has to be built for your life, not anyone else's. Second, growth and risk are two sides of the very same coin. Third, knowing the lingo, words like vesting and annuity, that gives you power. And finally, that getting help from a guide isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of a smart planner who knows how to use every tool they've got. And that leaves us with one final question to think about. Whether it's creating a budget for the first time, or learning about a new type of investment, or just scheduling a chat with an advisor, every great building starts with a single brick. So what's yours going to be? Thanks for watching.